Okay, good evening. So you can please share your screen. We Participants are going to be joining via YouTube. We are streaming online. So I believe you can hear me clearly.
So yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I said you can share your screen now. You start by 8:33. Participants are going to be joining via YouTube.
All right. Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Please confirm if you can hear me. Hello, good evening, class. Can you all hear me? Confirm if you can hear me. I believe you can see my screen. Hello, good evening. Can you hear? All right, so we'll continue from where we stopped in our last class. So is there anyone here that's having challenges that we need to look at for before we continue for today's class? Is anyone having challenge here? Please feel free to mute yourself and tell us your challenge so that we can work through it. Because I gave you guys some work activities to do, and I believe you guys must have done one or two things from those work activities. Hello? The facilitator, I don't know if they can interact with me because it seems like I'm the only one speaking here. All right, so in today's class, before I move into today's class, so I would like to do a quick recap of what we discussed yesterday. So I will be sharing my other screen, not this. So let me share the other screen. All right, so look at the screen here. So let me just kind of do a quick summary of what we did, and we'll move on for today's class. So this is my screen. So this is what we discussed yesterday. So I'll be doing some kind of data analysis and pre-processing steps here. And just look how I'm going to do it. This is an Excel, Microsoft Excel 2016 version. And I believe for you to have a system, you should have this basic package, Microsoft package, which is Excel. And I don't need to show you guys on how to install it. This is a basic package in Windows. So the first thing you will do now, because you see this first row does not make any sense to our data sets. So I just have to delete it. So I highlighted the first row, then I'll click on delete. You can see it is automatically deleted. And the next thing I will do here is I will start with the name. So I'll first highlight all the whole data sets. You can do that by clicking Ctrl A. Once you click Ctrl A, you will now move and click on data. It's not showing this place. Okay, yes. You click on data, then you click on this filter. So I'll first filter out in the name column those ones that have blank space. So I have to uncheck all the whole name and click on blank spaces. Okay. Okay, and click OK. So you see, these are the blank spaces in the name column, in the customer name. So I'm going to fill in with a value called unknown, because we don't know the name, so it is unknown. Or so to get it filled to the other space, I have to drag this my cell here. I have to drag here. Drag it down. Okay, I'm coming. I type unknown, so I drag here down. So to get the same. So that is for the customer name, because we don't know their names and we can't say what names they are. So we have to just fill it with unknown. So you can see those with pink color is filled with unknown. And I'll do the same thing for region. I'll do the same thing for region. I'll uncheck all so that I can get the ones that are empty. So if I uncheck all, remember, if I check one of these that is central and click OK, you see that it will give me information of central. So this is how you see, this is how you sort data. So this is all about sorting. And if you add on East, you click OK, it adds both central and East regions. But if I want to see none, I'll uncheck it and click on the blank spaces, because we can't decipher what region they are of. And I will type what we call unknown. Then I'll click OK. So I'll now drag cell down and fill it that way. So that is how you can fill in blank spaces when you're working with Excel. So the next on the list here is the unit price. So you can see that some unit price is 0. So you can actually give you the value, because if you notice that anyone that have a unit price of 0, the revenue will definitely be 0. It have a zero revenue. So I'm going to fill in the blank spaces that is in the unit price to, I'm going to fill in with a number. So what I'll do, I want to fill the unit price with just, let me just fill it with 0. Okay, so I'll drag it down. You notice something that will happen. So you see the unit price is 0. Unit price simply means the price of that product per one. That is what unit price means. The price of the product per one. Then let's see. So you can see now that those ones that have colored is now filled with a value of 0. So let's look for this revenue. Okay, let's see if I can refresh this. Refresh all. Now, we are going to create a new column called revenue because we want to get everything. We want to get the revenue of each of the products. That is the revenue. The revenue simply means you multiply the quantity of the product that is being purchased with the unit price. That tells us the actual cost, the actual price the customer is paying. That's what we call the revenue. So I'll create a new column called revenue. Again, the reason why I'm creating a new column called revenue is because of some of the rows are empty. So I have to create a new column, then I'll not delete this one. So now, how do you go about that? Because you are multiplying, you can now set the product. You can use one of the function called product, or if you choose not to use the product, you can just say equals to products. Okay, let's use products, the product function. Then you now said the quantity, you now say multiplied by the unit price. Close your bracket, click enter. You can see it give us 320, right? 320, that's another way of doing it. Another way of doing it is, you click this quantity, you click this quantity and this unit price to give you the product. So you can just say equals to open bracket, this. Sometimes you can close your bracket and multiply by this. Okay, you have to open bracket and close bracket for that. I need to make it look professional. Then it gives you the same values. So these 2 ways of doing that, but I preferred you make use of the function, which is products. You click on the products, you said, okay, because I'm multiplying this, put your comma, I'm multiplying the second one, close your bracket, click enter. So now, to get for others, you just have to click here to give you the unit price of every individual columns. So you see that because we are multiplying the unit price of this, if you multiply 0 by 20, it gives you 0. It's because there is no actual price. There is no actual unit price for it. So that is why it gives you 0, because there is no price tag for each product. Because if there is no price tag, that means you are not paying. That is what it means. So let me delete this column. So you highlight, you click delete, you right click and click delete. So that is how the column is being deleted. All right, so I want to create a new column called profit. So the profit is the profit. What do you think will be the profit? The profit should be the revenue minus the cost, isn't it? The revenue minus the cost. isn't it? So the cost is the unit price, and the revenue here is this what we sold. So let's check for the profit. You can see that there is no profit because we sold one quantity, so one items for electronics, and the unit price is 320. So you can now say it. How do you get it? You now say that's equals to, let's use the second formula for this. You say this minus this. Give you 0. So let's take a look for all. So you can see that in some of the product, there's actually profit. There's actually profit. So this is how to go about these columns. Is there anyone that have issues with these columns? Remember, okay, there is something I've not done yet here. You see the region column. In case maybe you want to use proper function to make the values to be proper, because this out here in row 19, yes, in row 20 is all capitalized, so we have to make it proper. And the way to make it proper, there's two ways to go about that. You either click on it and type proper. Proper is another way that they have uppercase, lowercase. You can actually convert a value to uppercase. You can actually convert it to lowercase. So this is sad before. So what do you want it to look like? I want it to look like this. I close bracket, enter. So you see it look like that way. But the best way to go about this is to highlight the cell, Control H. Now let's find for south. You type the way it is, south. Okay, let me say find for south, find all. So we see that there are some columns. Okay. There are some columns that have south. So let me look for exact match. I want to see the exact match. So find all. So just one. Then what did I want to replace it with? I want to replace it with this in a proper way south. So I will say to replace all. So there's one replacement for south. Let me do the same thing for north. Let me find one for north. Okay, find all. Okay, exact match something. Okay, and what do I want to replace it with? I want to replace it with the value of match like this. Okay, replace all. Okay, let me look for the other one. East, the east. Then replace it with east like this. Replace all. Okay, there is no one that is in capitalizing east. Next one should be central. Central. So what do you want to replace it with? Central. All right. So replace all. So replacement in central. So I think that is all for that. So we close. So let's look at this region column. Let's look at this region. So you can see that every of the value here is all okay. There is west here. West, okay. So let's do for west, Control G, Control H, I mean. So west, west, I replace it west. Okay, so Now that is done for this. So that is all you have to do in this simple Excel sheet. And that is a little you can do here, but this is a beginner class. And that is all for that. Okay. And let me do one last thing. I think there is one last one here. So if you want to create a pivot table, well, that is in the slide. Want to create a pivot, that is the basic I will show you. You open our pivot table in a new sheet. So we are going to open a new sheet, then you now click on OK. So now this is a new sheet called sheet 2 of the pivot table. And let's do some little analysis. Now let me analyze the products. Okay, the list of products. Okay, yes, and the revenue, or okay, let me say the profits. So the sum of each product and the profits. So you can now see a bar chart. This is what we call a bar chart. So you see, based on the chart, we have a good profit in laptop because it's over 80,000. That's the sum of the profits. If you want to change this to maybe average, you have to click on either you click on this or you click on this. So let's click on this. You right click. There's what we call value field setting. You click on value field setting. You change here from sum to average or count. Okay, let's look at the count of the profit. You can see if you're looking at the count of the profit, mouse have higher profits, followed by laptop. Okay, let's do the same. Let's change again to, let's check the average, the profit. With the average profit, you see that average profit is, you see standing decks with laptop have almost the same average profit. So that is all about that. If you don't want to see some of the columns, some of the products in this bar chart, you have to click on the product here. Then you uncheck which of these products you don't want to be listed. So let's unlist notebook. Let's then pen sets. Okay, this two, click OK. You can see notebook is here and pen set is here. So let's click on OK. So you see there's no more notebook and pen set. So this is a quick summary of what pivot table is all about. Okay. So let me share the other one. The other one is this. All right, so this is the for data analysis. This is where we do data analysis. You know, there's a process from data definition, data collection, data processing, data analysis. So what we did before now, that we are changing the file we worked before this one, what we did there was data preprocessing, because we're preparing the data set for analysis. Are you getting it? So if you want to do the analysis, so you are looking at statistical function, statistical method. And one of the things you do in statistical method is to look for the mean, the median, the mode, the frequencies. You're actually analyzing the data set. Even creating pivot table is all about analyzing the data set, because you have analyzed data set and discovered that you have more profit in laptop than any other product. So what we just did is what we call data analysis. So I will move to show you guys a simple and quick way of doing analysis. Now, you see, I'll show you how to get for average, how to get for median, mode, standard deviation, mean, max, count, correlation. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do here is to look at the salary column and look at the salary, see the table. This is the table. The first column is the employee ID, age, salary, years of experience, performance score, satisfactory rating, and monthly sales. So this is just like having a customer data where they provide their age, the employee ID, that one is automatically generated. The salary, okay. Okay, this is not a customer. This is not a customer data. This is an employee working in a company information. So they have their age of the employee. We have the salary of the employee, the years of experience. That is how many years of experience they have in that field, their performance score, satisfactory rating. So this satisfactory rate is coming from maybe the supervisor and the monthly sales. So maybe I think based on this information, this should be in the marketing department, because you see that some of these employees have zero sales in this month, in the month of when this information is gathered, while some employees are actually pushing up and the likes. So this is how to manage a large numbers of employees. So you can see that we have over 50 staffs working in an organization. So they want to know how it is being done, what is actually happening among their staffs. So by so do they can give maybe at the end of the year reward or monthly award or quarterly award or the like. So the first thing we're going to discuss here is salary. We're going to check the mean. So how do you check for the mean of the salary? So when you use your function, average, so there's a function called average, and you start by typing equals to the unit type average. See it, once I begin to type average, it lists out options of what functions of average are. So we have different ones. We have the average if, we have the average if s, we have the average a. So we are working with this normal average. So it asks us two parameters. The first parameter is the number one, and what are we getting the average for? So we are getting the average for salary. So we have to highlight the entire volume of salary. So click by it, the average of it, close bracket, enter. So you can see that the average salary of the entire staffs is 293,921 naira. So that is the average salary of the staff. So let's check for the mean, the mean, and that is the median. Median simply means the middle. Want to know the middle. The difference between average and mean is the same, because average is used in statistics analysis. The mean is used maybe in the English word. So mean is same thing as average. So to get from mean, equals to mean. Median, equals to median. Click on median. And the same thing, just for, so that is it. Control. You now close your brackets. Now, let me show you something. Now, see this, what it shows from C3 column C52. I type median, I open my bracket. So what I did now is that it highlighted cell C. You can see it's under cell C, and the row is 3. It started from cell C3. You can see this cell here, cell C3, going down to cell C52. So this C52 is just like a range from cell C3 to cell C52. That's why you can see this semicolon sign. Semicolon sign. Okay, column sign. You can see this column sign. So then you now close your bracket and click enter. So this is how to get for the median, and the same thing goes for the mode. So I'll click on mode. So I can just open my brackets. Okay, the bracket should open cell C3 and C3 column C52. And just type it. So you can see it. Then close your bracket. Enter. Standard deviation equals to STV, STD. So you can see different, look at the one I'm working with, standard deviation. So C3 column C52, close bracket. Mean, do the same thing for me. You just double click on the one I'm working with, C3 column C52. You can see it's highlighting itself. Remember, we're working under salary. For marks, the same thing. Marks, bracket, C3 column C52. The count simply means, this mark simply means maximum salary. Mean simply means minimum salary. Standard deviation simply means the standard deviation of the salary. That is, you have to get the mean, or you have to exponentiate the mean divided by, there is a standard, there is a formula for standard deviation. And the count, that is the count. How many people got salary. So you can get it by C3 and C52. So you see that you have 50 staffs working with them. So it's 50 staffs. It started from 3 to 52. So it's 50 staffs. So correlation goes to correlation. So correlation simply means look at it working on two things. You have to look at two different columns. So the first column is the salary versus the experience. So we have to look at, if you want to correlate, you have to look at two items, two columns, something you want to correlate with. Maybe you want to, the other name of correlate is to compare. The English word for correlation is to compare. So you want to compare what works together with these items. So let's correlate, in this case, the salary and the experience. So I'll just go and highlight the salary information here, and it's highlighted. You can see from C3 to C52. I put comma. So what else am I correlating for the array 2? Now I've provided for RE1. So what have I collected with RE2? The years of experience. So I'll come here and just highlight all. You can see here, that is D3 to D52. So I'll close my bracket and click enter. So you can see that in correlation starts with minus to plus. I show you in the slide, correlation is minus to -1 to +1. So the closer it is to 1, simply means that there is high correlation. 1 simply means 100%. 0.9894886 means that it is approximately 95% correlated, that the salary is correlated to the years of experience. So that is what it means. So you can do the same thing for performance score. So you can do the same thing for other columns. So let me just look at the one for performance score here. So you can actually do the same thing for performance score. So let's just look quick on, let's look at the mean and the maximum of the minimum years performance score. So yes, performance score. So let's look at the mean, equals to the mean. So of performance score. So performance score is E. Okay, then I'll close the brackets. Click enter. So the minimum performance score is 1.8. So the maximum performance score should be the way I do this is that if I click on a cell and I want to get the entire cell, I'll click on Control Shift. Then if I'm going down, I'll click on the down arrow to highlight the entire cell. So the maximum performance score is 5. So the count will be the same because it is the same employee. So that is how to go about this. Okay, I think we are good in this aspect. So let me go back to the slide for today. So this is the slide for today. I believe you can see my slide. Welcome to SQL. SQL. I believe you must be thinking in your head that, wow, what is the meaning of SQL? How can we go about SQL? The word SQL stands for Structured Query Language. The structured query and language. SQL is a relational database that stores your data in multiple tables, and you can link those data together. You see, I believe you understand what I just defined. It's a database that stores your data, and you can actually manipulate those your data to get insight. You can analyze those your data. You can extract your data set from a database. So that is basically a quick review of what an SQL is. I just hope I can connect to the YouTube so that I can get maybe a kind of question if there's any. But in this case, let's proceed. All right. Okay, I just define what a relation database. A relation database stores data in structured table we defined relationship between them, enable efficient data retrieval using SQL. SQL simply means structured query language. So you can see that in the types of data that you can only store a structured data in SQL. So unstructured data is not permitted in SQL. In fact, you can't work with unstructured data. So any data set that is coming in to the server of SQL must be a structured data set. And also, there is a key component that makes it a structured data set. There must be a relationship between that data set. So you can't just bring in random data set and bring it into SQL. No, it must be structured. I should have showed you how to install SQL. It's very important. So you need to know how the installation step is all about before I begin to talk about the core SQL command. So the core SQL command are very important. We're going to look at it intensively if time permits, but now you need to know how to install the database of SQL. So we are going to use MySQL. There are various platforms where you can actually use or you can actually execute SQL code. One of which is MySQL. The second one is SQL Server, which is authored by Microsoft. These are the two most popular SQL that is currently used. There are many SQL that you can use. You can use PostgreSQL and the likes. So for the purpose of this training, we are going to use MySQL. So let me switch to my network. So I'll show you how we can use MySQL. So I'll be showing you a slide of my browser. We are going to do it step by step, systematically on how to install SQL, which is very important for today's class because this is a beginner class, so we need to know how the installation is done. Okay, this is still, I believe you can see my web browser screen. So now, if you want to install SQL, the first thing you type is MySQL. Let's just type MySQL, and let's look at here. MySQL download. Yes, so look at this. Look at what it will show you. Take you here. You can actually watch video on how to go about that. Okay, there are various server. You click on download. Once you click on download, you go down. You find for where it's written community. I'm looking for community edition. So you can now see there are various editions. So we are looking at this one, community edition. You click on this one, I have my SQL community GPL download. And you click on community server. Let's click on community server. There's actually my SQL installer for Windows. Or you can actually install the server. So you see, you choose the latest version, which is 9.6 innovation. You select your operating system. So in this case, I'm using Microsoft Windows, and you can see for MacBook, for different Linux, for different operating systems. So this is mine. Then you select which one do you want to download. Okay, you can see that this have 64 bits. That is MSI installer. This one is an ICAP file. So you install this. So let's install this first one. Click, yeah, that means you download it. It's not installed, I mean. So you can actually download by logging in or you sign up. But in this case, you click on no thanks and say just start my download. So you see it's downloading. So let's wait a couple of some seconds for it to download. Then I'll show you guys on how to go about the necessary step for you to make this package fully installed on your system. I believe you can see my screen. The facilitator, please just give me a notification that you can see my screen.
Yes, yeah, I can see your screen.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So we are done downloading. Okay, it's about to finish downloading. So yes, you can see now we have downloaded this. So you have to open the file by double clicking on it. I'll double click on it to open it. Yes, so this is welcome to my SQL Server 9.6 setup wizard. Then you can see it's written my SQL. So this is the logo of my SQL. You click next. You have to, that is the user license agreement. So you have to accept. They click next. So
Okay.
in this case,
At this
hello?
point, at this point, we can't see the installation screen. So I
Can
guess
you,
you now have to.
okay. Let me go back. Okay. Yes, yeah. Let me, okay. Yes, thank you for that. I should share my screen now. Can you see the installation screen now?
Yes. Yeah, see
All
the
right, so
installation screen.
yeah. So you click on next. Wow, okay, let me go back. So I'll start from beginning. I'll start from beginning. So this is what I was explaining before I was I never knew that it wasn't showing. So I was explaining the installation screen of my SQL Server 9.6 setup. I believe you can see my screen now. You can see the installation.
Yeah.
All right, so you click next. Uh, uh, can you see it now?
It just went off.
That's what I noticed. I noticed that because anytime I click on the installation, I click on any of the option, it just went off. So I think I should just share my entire screen.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do now. I believe you can see my screen now. So this is the entire screen of the installation program. So I will first double click on this. I believe you can see the screen. And I'll click on
Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
So I will now click on accept because it's very important to accept the license agreement. And click on next. You can go through it and know what the license is all about. So in this case, since the first one the first option is typical, which says install the most common program feature recommended for most users. Okay, allow users to choose which program feature will be installed and where will be installed. All program feature will be installed. So the best is to use custom for beginners. So use custom, we click on custom. And this asks us common setup. So that is, you want you to select where you want it to be saved. So you just click on next because look at, it's very important to note where it's saved. It is saved in my program files. So if I go to my program files I will see a folder called my SQL. Then if I click on that folder, I will see another one called my SQL server. So this is where this my SQL is saved. So in case of maybe I want to go to edit some certain configuration or something like that, I should know where to locate it. It is stored in my program files. So I'll click on next and click on install. So you have to wait for a moment for it to install, and you can see the status of the installation, and it will start gradually to the end. So this is very important for you to see how the setup of my SQL is all about. So I have to accept, say yes, to accept this one. Remember, I'm using Windows 11. So actually, it depends on which version of operating system. So me, I'm using Windows 11. So you can see completed my SQL Server setup wizard. And I'll click on finished. This is the configuration. Click on next. Okay, no, I think I've done this before. Is it repeating itself or what? Yeah, I think I've done this one. Just cancel it. Finished. So yes, you say welcome. Welcome. Then you click next. Okay, click next. Developer, development server. Okay, this next. So now it asks me my root password. So you can put your password just like the way you put password to your account. So you can put password. And the password is something that you should remember, because SQL have what we call, just like the way you log into your account, your PalmPay, OPay, or just your normal account, it requires an access password. So this access password is what tell the server that this is actually the owner coming in, because you don't want a situation whereby anybody that operates on your device can access your database. So you want to make sure that you are the one, you are the author of, you are the one coming in. So that is why it requests for password. So I will just put a very common password that's easy for me to enter. So you can do some for yourself as well. It's them that the password is weak. That's how I want it. Yeah. And it says that Windows service. The first one is run Windows service as standard system account, recommended for most scenario. Custom user and existing user account can be selected. So if you have an existing, so that means you have to select custom user, then you put your password. So I don't have existing, in this case, fresh. Now say next. It's access server file permission. So these are the, yeah, it's going from next to, from here now, you see that it moved to sample data set. So I'll just click next, because yes, grant full access to the user running the Windows service. So that's what I want. Database, it asks me that sample database, select database that should be created. So you can actually click on, you can actually check on create a word database, or you check on create circular database. You can click on next. Okay, I not check any, so I just click on this. The next one is apply configuration. So how do you want this to be configured? Do you want it to be updating Windows firewall rules, writing configuration file, updating permission, and the likes, updating startup? And so you see, if you click on execute simply means you want all these things to be working. So I want it to be actual writing configuration files, updating, and the rest. So you have to wait a bit for it to finish executing. Starting the server, applying security setting, and updating the start menu link. So it now say the configuration for my SQL Server 9.6 was successful. Click next to continue. So I have to click next. Now it says configuration complete. The configuration procedure has been completed. Copy log to you now say refer to following. So let me click on finish. I think we are done. So this is it. So let me come to my search menu and type my SQL. Okay. So SQL community. I click open. It says, okay, yes. Custom. Custom simply server only. The next is set server. This is choosing a setup tab. Now, you say the first one is please select the setup tab that suits your use case. There are options. You can say server only. That means it will install only the MySQL server product, client only. It will only install only the MySQL client product full. It will install all, include MySQL product. If you click on full here, you see what it will install. It will install the workbench, the documentation. So let's click on full, because I want everything to be installed. Let's look at what custom looks like. Custom means that it allows you to select exactly what product you would like to install. So that's what custom is. That means you are the one to choose which of these products to install. So you can see, I want, if I should choose custom, that means I have to go back and install my SQL workbench. It is very important, this workbench. So, but let me just click on full for the purpose of this training. And that is the download. I'll now click execute the download. So it's saying that there's an error. So let me see the error information. It says download the package, fail with message not valid download found. Okay, this is why. Let me go back. Okay, let me choose custom. Click on enable. Now the first one shows category of software. I say all. Okay, yes, all. I want all. The maturity. I I want 64 bits. I want 64 bits. I don't want architecture. I want the 64 bits. Then click. Next. Execute. Why I choose 64-bit is because of my Windows is 64-bit. So it depends on the Windows operating system you're using. So that is the reason why I choose 64. So you can see that it have three options. The first option is architecture. The second one is the 34 bits. The third one is the 64. So architecture simply means it's all like the auto. So it will just select the one that best fits your system, but you can actually select the one that yourself, because I already know what my operating system is all about, which is 64 bits. So it's downloaded. Click next. Click next. Execute. Next. Next. Now you can actually pipe, that is the pipe name. You can actually give a pipe name or shared memory, but let's leave it the way it is. Let's leave it the way it is. You can actually see advanced option, but no, let's leave it the way it is. I have to click here. Connectivity IP should be checked. And this port is just like your network provider. This is like network provider for your SQL. I don't know why showing this next is not showing gray. So we are actually working with the development computer. If I change this a name, I should leave it the way it is. So my SQL is terrible. feel like we have done this before. I think we have done this before. I don't know why it's bringing me this again. All right. So we need to figure out this because we need to reconfigure this. If not, we will not move to the next step. That is what it means. And this is the type and networking. You have to reconfigure your server configuration tab, which says choose the correct server configuration tab for this MySQL server installation. This setting will define how much system resources are assigned to my SQL server instance. So if I move this from development to server computer or I put manual. Manual simply means it will keep the default configuration file value. If the value needs any change, they must be manually updated by editing and configuration. And that is the configuration. The next one is the IP. So once you click on this IP, it will give you option for open Windows firewall ports for network access. So I prefer using this name, MySQL. The IP is not the IP here is not like this is what this specified port is already in use. So what it means that this port is already in use. So let me change this to 8080. Okay. And that is it, 8080. Or I should make it the way it looks like here, 33060. But if I make here 8080, I have to do the same here, 8080. So you can do what suits you. So you can see I put 8080 here and I put 80800 here. So I'll click next. So you see here, use strong password encryption for authentication recommended. So yes, okay, next. Now look at what they asked me. My actual root password. So I have to put that first password I created. Then I have to repeat the password. And I should leave this for now. In case I have maybe another account, I can actually add it here. So I'll click next. So my Windows service name is my SQL 80, and this is a standard system account. So this process is the process of installing SQL. It's very important because this is what you have to do. You have to do. Okay, so there is more packages we have to install. Yes, we have to go and install the workbench. Yes, there's more packages we have to install. So let me go back. Yeah. Okay, you can't see my screen now. So let me stop sharing and go back to the slide. I can explain a few things before we move on. So this is the slide. I'm trying to extend the slide to reach. Okay, yeah. Now, in our next class, we are going to do this practical, and we are going to continue the installation of my SQL. So I want to just show you this step. So, and also you can read online and to see how you can actually install, but definitely I'm going to come in our next class and show you the complete process of the installation. This is the first step by installing the server. So after installing the server, we have to install the packages. This package is one of it is the workbench, and that takes time. So we can't cover that. We can't cover that in this class. So let me explain some few core command so that when we come in our next class, you'll be conversant with this core command. And the first one is the select. This is where you select a particular column you're working with. If you're working with a database and the database have many columns, you can select any of these columns by using the command select. So for instance, I want to select the ID, the name, and the city. So what I'll say select, I'll now write the names of these columns called ID, names, and city. So what this command will do is that it will go to the database of where these column names are and select them instead of viewing numerous numbers of column. It will just select this particular column that match with what you have command. The next one is from where are you selecting these columns. You have to specify from where, because in database simply means that it's not one database that is there. It is more than one. That's what makes it a database, a compilation of different database from where. So you may have like 20 data sets in your SQL database, and in this, it's just like a book shelf. In a book shelf, they have different books that is being arranged here, and you want a particular book you want a particular page in a particular book. So now you first have to bring out the book. You have to first identify the book you're looking for. Then you now open the page you want to read. So that is how it is being done in SQL. So you have to bring out the book. So bringing out the book is you have to specify from which book. So that from which of the book are you interested in? It simply means which of the data set are you interested in. So you now say from, then you now write the name of the data set. If, for instance, you are looking for things falls apart by Professor Achebe. So you now said from things fall apart. So it will now bring the book that is titled Things Fall Apart. Then maybe you're interested in one chapter, and now say chapter 2. And so it will now open to chapter 2, so you can now view what is in that chapter. But in this case, you have to call the name of your data set. So your data set can be stored as either customer. For instance, if it's customer here, we say from customer. So this is specify the table and filter condition. Then group by. Group by simply means to aggregate data by category. For instance, you are working with the names and the city. So you can actually group these names and city based on maybe you want to look at only for Lagos City, and it will just show you a list of names that falls within or in that falls with Lagos City. You know that in that city they must have like many cities in that column, and you just want to see only for Lagos City with the name. So that is what group by simply means. Group by simply means you are joining two columns. You are joining two columns, not a particular column. You are joining two columns to filter out your interests. So that's what group by simply means. That is why you can see it's aggregating. Order by, so you can search result as Sunday or descent. So you can check for, if you're looking for the price of an item, you can start viewing from the highest price, from the most expensive price down to the least expensive. So that's what order simply means. You can see that the core language in SQL aligns with our English. So that's where it makes it simple for data reprocessing and analysis. Okay. They join, from the word join simply means you are joining two different tables with a foreign key. I will explain in details what foreign key simply means in SQL. That's what we call the primary key and a foreign key. The primary key is the index column of that data set. That's what primary key is. While a foreign key, in some cases, the primary key can serve as a foreign key. But in this foreign key, that is the uniqueness of each of the rows. The uniqueness of each of the rows is the foreign key. So if you are joining two different data sets together, there must be a uniqueness from these two data sets. For instance, you see the customer, for instance, the customer have 4 columns. We have the ID, it have the name, it have the email, and it have the city. While for the order, it have the ID, customer ID, the product, and the amount. So you can now see that the order have an ID, and it also have a customer ID. The customer here have an ID. So thinking intrinsic about this, you say, okay, the ID here is the same as the ID here. No, there's a difference between this ID and this ID, because this ID here is the primary key of this table, and this one too is the primary key of this data set called order. So the foreign key here is this customer ID. So that is what brings this ID that is in customer data set with the order data set, because it is stated the customer ID, which simply means the ID of this customer. That means what is here is what is here. So this is that is what we call the link. That is what we call the foreign link. Because of this is a two different departments. This department is the customer department. This is the other department. So for you to create the other department, you have to first note the customer ID, because it's from the customer ID you can able to get their product and the amount which they purchase. So this is how SQL is operates, because For instance, you are working in an organization that have various departments, and these various departments, they're into marketing. You know that marketing is all about sales, and you know that each sales that the company make is a value, and each of these departments work in synergy, in accordance to make more sales. So whatever each department is working on, there must be a link to another department. So that is how it is in SQL. So in every department, every data set, there should be a link in that data set. That is if that data set is coming from the same source. Are you getting it? So that is what this is all about. So I want to take my time to explain this. So when we come to our next class, we don't have to come and be repeating some steps. We just go direct and practical. And the next is writing SQL code. So I want to just put this at, I just want you to have this. I've explained what select and order by and joining two tables all about. So the pro tips for SQL, always use ALS for readability. I'll explain what ALS is. Index column use is index columns used in where clauses, use limits to test queries on large data sets. I'll explain what limit is. Limit simply means if you're working with a very large data set and you have to use the command limit, so you can limit the amount of data set the command is carrying, so it will not look so large. So you have to limit based on what you are looking for. So now let's go back to the code, starting from the basic SQL query. The select, remember, from the customer, we're looking at the customer data set. This is the customer, and the customer have a column called ID, name, email, and city. So you can see that select the name, the city, and the revenue. So you can now see that it selects, okay, the name, the city. But in this case, there's revenue, but there's no revenue here. And the revenue simply means the price of the product by the quantity. From customer, look at from customer table. Now you now went on to do filtering. Filtering simply means where city is close to Lagos. So you can now see that instead of looking at all the whole cities in Nigeria, because we're looking at Nigeria, instead of looking at all the whole cities in Nigeria, they are interested in looking at cities in Lagos, maybe due to they have higher revenue, and you ordered by descending order. Simply means it starts from the higher customer revenue to the less customer revenue. So this is how you do data analysis, data manipulation. Why we call it manipulation simply means that you can manipulate the data set in the sense that you can get what you want. So like for a year now, we see that we have just manipulated data set that instead of showing us all the whole cities we have in Nigeria, it's just bringing out only for Lagos. So the next is for the aggregates. The aggregate simply means I will select the region, and in this region, then I'll do a kind of a function where I'll say count as order. Now it will count all the whole region in a unique and each as order. Now, then you now say sum the amount as total revenue. Look at what it means. This is under the select. You select the region and it selects the count of the region as an order. Okay. Then it's have a function of sum of the amounts. So there is a column called amount. So let's look at amount. Look at it, amount. Inside this amount as total revenue. Remember in this count, it is not put the name of a column, it put this asterisk star. This asterisk star simply means everything in that region, everything in this order, count everything in the order column, then give it as order. Then from order data, you now do a group by region, having sum the amount whereby it is greater than 550,000. So what it simply means that give me the region, display the region where the sum is greater than 50,000. So like I said, group simply means you're getting two items. So it must be two information you are trying to analyze, two. So it's analyzing region and the amount. So in this region case, I'm not just seeing any region. I'm seeing region that is having a 50,000 above revenue, or 50,000 above revenue, yes. So that is what this is all about. So the last one is the joint. Like I said, you can join two columns together. So you first have to select the names of columns you want to join. I select C dot name. That C simply means customer. That is what we call alias. O simply means order. So why did I put C? Because of C dot name, because of it's in customer ID, I will get the names, email, and city. And it's in product ID, order ID, I'll get the product and amount. So you can now see that I bring one column from one data set and join it with another two columns from a different data set. And I say from customer, and I put C, then inner joint order, and I put O. Simply means where you see C here, it means customer. Where you see O here, it means order. Then I say on C.order, on C.id. That means the ID of customer equals to the order, which is O, on the custom ID. So this you join using the foreign key. And the foreign key here is the customer ID in order and the ID in customer, where O, which is the order amount, is greater than 1,000. So that is how you write in SQL. Don't worry, you get to understand when we do this practical. That comes the end of the basic knowledge you need to understand the SQL. So in our next class, that is the last day, we're going to write a short code on SQL. You talk about the visualization and storytelling. I'll explain the bar charts, the line charts, the P charts, different charts you need to understand in data analysis. This chart is used to communicate your insights to make decision making, and your chart should be interactive. That in the sense that only looking at the chart, the third party will be able to decipher what it's all about. So that is why we make charts and dashboard in data analysis. So we are going to use Power BI in this case. You can either use Power BI or Tableau. And we are going to talk intensively on how to make dashboard and what should be in and what should not be in. So that is it for today. I wish all of you guys a lovely week, and happy Salah to those my friends celebrating, and good luck. Thank you very much. So this is 10 o'clock already. So should I end the call? Are you there with me?
Thank you so much, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I've been taking data analytics for a while, but I can say so far I've learned a lot from today's class, especially the SQL part, structured data, and all of that. So I'm going to check um, the YouTube handle. So far, there hasn't been any question with regards to what you are doing, but I'm going to check again, and by 5 minutes after 10, we should end this session. Just give me a minute
Okay. All right.
while I search for questions. Okay, no question. We are going to see on Friday, 8:30 p.m. same time. Um, Thank you all for participating in today's class. I believe you have learned something. Yeah, there's going to be an advanced class where we would go deeper into data analytics. So the advanced class, which is going to be paid, this one is a free training. The advanced class, which is going to be paid, the fee and all of that will be communicated via the WhatsApp group. Thank you all for participating in today's class. We would see on Friday, 8:30 p.m. Good night and have a nice rest. Thank you, instructor. You did justice to this class.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time and effort. I really appreciate.